Okay, so for my presentation, I've always been a fan of, going to the movies, and especially watching a lot of old movies at home, seeing a lot of like the classics and looking at different directors and how they interpret different screenplays and how they use different shots to try and make things more interesting. And so it's always been something that I've wanted to try and take up and do myself, like kind of make my own movie. And this has been an idea that I've kind of been thinking of for a long time. So the concept I kind of wanted to work with was, well, let me backtrack. One of my favorite directors has to be, I have a lot of favorite, like Quentin Tarantino and others, but Stanley Kubrick is definitely at the top of my list right now. So what I wanted to do was create a movie that was almost a mashup of The Shining and 2001: A Space Odyssey. An interesting concept. So basically I wanted to take the idea of cabin fever, kind of messing with your mind a little bit, and put that in a space setting where you're flying like just a couple small group, you don't have much to do other than your work for 6 months just in space. Not contacting anyone else, eating the same meals day in, day out, nothing changing for 6 months, and how that would affect you mentally. I wanted this to be something that you could look at this and be like, if I were alone for that long doing the same thing, I could kind of fall into that pattern and kind of fall into the paranoia that comes with it. So to get started, I kind of came up with an idea of the plot I wanted to do, and I put my ideas down on paper for the basic plot I wanted. I then got to work on writing a script. Now, as I started writing the script, I kind of made the decision that I don't think I really have time to fully write out everyone's lines, and I don't think the people I'm getting to be in my film really want to memorize lines, and so why not give it a more humanistic feel by more explaining the scenes and explaining the concept, but not actually giving them their lines, letting them improvise the lines as it's going. So that's what I actually ended up doing. So I got a group, I think there was about 10 of us, and we started filming 2 weeks ago, I think, just after school, whenever we had a chance, really. And it took a lot longer than I thought, because when you're filming with friends, it's not really like you're down to working serious the whole time. You're kind of like having fun, and it's hard to stay focused for that long. But we stay focused, and I ended up getting a finished product, which I'm very proud of. I also made the decision for adding the score. You always run into like copyright issues, and I wanted to make this a movie that's completely mine, and I don't have to worry about any of that. So over the last couple of years that I've been in Corral, like Mr. Walker has sent out different recordings of us that we've recorded down in the choir room. So I took those recordings and used those for the opening credit scene and the end credit scene. So that way, this is all completely mine. And then I added some pictures I took offline that were pretty much like public domain, well, free use pictures of different spatial shots to try and give you a feeling of the vast expanse of space. So what the movie really was about was I wanted to give it a humanistic feel while also being a little bit of the excitement of space, also trying to work in a little drama of everyday human lives. And I think it turned out pretty well. So basically, in reflection of my project, I'm very proud of how it turned out. There's a lot of things I would have liked to do differently if I would have had more time and resources. Because like, if you're going to make a big budget, like actual film these days, you're running costs of anywhere between 100,000 to 100 million, but of course I don't really have that. I ended up having to film it on my iPad, which I would have rather used like a camera and then put it on a computer and use more professional editing equipment rather than iMovie, but I did what I did, and I think it still turned out really well. I ended up adding some filters and sound effects and whatnot to it. And yeah, there's also a couple of scenes I would have liked to refilm, but given the time crunch here at the end, I wasn't able to. But overall, I'm very proud of how this turned out, and I'm glad I got to do this. It's always been a dream of mine to kind of actually get to make a film, and I'm really happy with it.